so you want to take down a Kuva, but don't know how? This video over here is going to teach you the ins and the outs of Kuva farming. It's going to teach you things about Requiems, teach you about the Parazon mods, teach you about hunting them, their minions, or as they're called, murmurs. And they're also going to break it down in a way that anybody should be able to grasp. Because let's be frank, Warframe doesn't exactly do a very good job with it. And also kind of more explain the system behind it. So now that we're back, we're going to jump into the star chart. So first things that you want to answer with a Kuva. Now, the Kuva are essentially super units of the Grineer faction. They're essentially Kuva enhanced to rival the Warframes themselves. So basically you have to look at a a Grineer based mission. So Saturn is a great spot as it has many different Grineer nodes. Now my personal recommendation is Kasani. Now the two rules to make sure. Grineer, check. Has to be a level 20 or above for enemies. That means you can't use E Prime. Kasani is one of those great missions as you can rush the mission and then you can end up dealing with the Kuva stuff. Of course I'll run through it and showcase it for you guys. So we're going to start it. Now, progenitor warframes, or the particular warframes that are going to have the elemental stat, I'm going to link down below. Now, I am using Varuna for this particular mission. Now, what you use is completely up to you. So we capture him. Now pay attention to the lights. The lights are a very big indicator.
We'll interrogate the captive back at base. Your part is done here, Tenno.
See those flickering lights? This is where you want to go on the murderous rampage. I have about 40 seconds to kill as many Grineer as you can. See that red target? That is where our Kuva is. Well, Kuva larvae is going to be. See here? Now we murder him. And see, this one is going to give me a Kuva new core. But you know what? I'm perfectly fine with. See how he spawns and then he goes into that? Alright. Arkansas are always good.
Stay focused. There's a heavy unit approaching.
Now just watch.
For your toxin, little mate. There was a little too much blood in my poison stream.
Okay, so I'm gonna kind of jump into this area to explain a little bit. So first off, let's talk a bit about some of the things to look out for. So first off, you can always re-roll the weapon, but you just don't kill the Kuva larvae, like you saw earlier. So in other words, if you don't want the first weapon that appears, you can always redo the mission. Just do not finish the Kuva Lich. Just leave him sitting there. And he will eventually A, despawn, or B, you complete the mission and he's still left standing. There's not really a way that you can guarantee whether it's going to be female or male. It seems to have a preference of both popping up at the same time, so keep that in mind. Next, if you want the full list of progenitor warframes, I am going to actually put a list down below in the comment section, or in the comment section as well as the description. So do check that out if you want to farm for a particular ephemera, or B, farm for a particular weapon status. And Varuna is a radiation based. So that means that if we look at our Kuva Lich, which I'm going to look at right now. So notice over here. Now, if we were to try and run this mission again, we could run the mission, but the Kuva Lich itself cannot spawn because we have one existing. Now, if we look at the star chart, and I'm talking of 2024 and the most recent version of Warframe, at the time of posting this is in February, the Kuva Lich will always follow the same pattern. So it's going to go into Earth first. Level 2, it's going to go into Mars. Level 3, it's going to go into Ceres. And then level 4, it's going to go into Sedna. And then last, it's going to go into the Kuva Lich, the Kuva Fortress. Now keep in mind, the Kuva Fortress itself can move around the entire star chart. But level 5 is always going to be the Kuva Fortress. Now, my Varuna build is not really that good, so I'm actually not going to use Varuna for this, for hunting the Kuva Lich. So I'm going to switch to a different Warframe that is capable of hunting the Kuva Lich. Alright, so I switched to a Warframe that should be capable of taking down the Kuva Lich. I'm going to explain a couple things about the Parazon. So first off, the Parazon is just like every other weapon, how there's special mods that can be applied to it. So for example, I have Live Wire, which shocks enemies within 20 meters while hacking. I have Auto Breach, which is very useful, 30% to auto hack. And then Intruder, which adds some extra seconds for hacking. There is other ones as well, but I don't generally use them. But anyways, so we will go over these mods over here. Now these are what are called your Parazon key mods, I think is what they're actually called, or Requiem mods. Now the order of every single Kuva Lich is going to have its unique order, its unique mods. Now if you convert a Lich, which I'll explain later, you can technically trade Liches. But basically you get these guys via the Requiem relics. So I'm just going to toss a couple of them on my Parazon right now. I don't have a clue what the order is. You don't have a clue what the order is until you actually start facing it. It's going to reveal these 3, but it's not going to tell you the order. It's going to tell you what 3 they are. It's your job to figure out which is the order that they go into. So we take a look at our relics over here. I'm going to go through the Requiems over here. So these you get via doing the Kuva missions. So you either need to have somebody that has a Kuva Lich, or you need to get one yourself. These are the only ways to get these mods, or these relics. So you got the Requiem 1, which, by the way, all of the Requiem mods are uncommon drops. So for example, we have the Requiem 1, which gives Lock and Zata. Next we have the Requiem 2, which drops Jahu and Bohm. Then we got Requiem 3, which drops Foss and Riss. And Requiem 4, which drops Kra and Netra. Of course, I'm going to go over detail on those at a later point in the video, so stay tuned for that. But first, we're going to go into one of the Kuva missions. Now, one of the downsides about the Kuva Lich is it is kind of long,
Everything in its place.
so I'm not going to be recording the whole process, but I'm going to go over a few points over here to explain a bit about what to look out for, how to exactly, I guess you could say, meta it and make it better. Alright, so we're actually going to go over the Lich screen over here. So that's this bottom piece over here. So going to go over a few things. So first off, these are the abilities that they will unlock as they level up. At level 1, they essentially have no special abilities. Now, how do you tell if your Lich has an ephemera? This one does not have an ephemera. You can actually visually see the ephemera if it is equipped with one. Not to mention, you can also look at the weaknesses. So for example, this one is weak to magnetic as well as cold damage. So if you want to do some extra damage, that would definitely be something that you'd want to look at. Next, you can see the weapon. So for example, you could see she is holding onto a Kuva new core. You can see the weapon bonus. So the status, this one is a 25% status bonus of radiation. You can see the radiation symbol over there. You can see the birthplace. This one was birthed on Gasani with progenitor Varuna. Now, other things that you will end up seeing. Now, depending on the level or the rarity of your Kuva Lich, you're going to see things like resistances. You're going to see things like personality traits sometimes, which are going to be shown over there. Now, I could show you some of the previous Liches that I did to show you what these would end up looking like. So we go into Universe, and we're going to go into Kuva Lich. So for example, this is my entire list of Kuva Liches that I did. So my most recent one was
Anyone can hack someone to pieces.
converted. She's actually an ally.
Put themselves back
So for
together
example, if you
again.
look over here, you can see the weakness, which is magnetic as well as blast. She has a radiation to corrosive heat, and she's immunity to radiation type damage. She had the Kuva Tonkor, 30% weapon bonus of Toxin, and birthplace was Kasani, and I birthed her with Dagoth. We can also look into this one, for example, which was a level 3 Lich. Let's see. But yeah, you can see the ephemera that she has.
I have learned that it takes
Notice
only
that
8
green
hours
stuff that's
to
coming
unlock
off of
a
her?
souvenir.
This is the one of the ephemeras. We can go into the last Lich that I did. So this is the fire ephemera. So you can visually see the ephemeras coming off the Liches. And also notice how these are burning. These are the abilities that I had to deal with when I took this Lich out. Do you see how this guy doesn't have any ephemera? Yeah, because he doesn't have any ephemera. See, you're successful. I'm curious what weapon we got. So this is your Kuva larvae. It's going to be a Kuva Ionga. So you can kind of see the weapon that you're going to get at the end of it spawning on top of their heads.